Hey soul friends, welcome back to another video here on my channel Healthy Rain. Today I wanted to do a review of my new favourite deck, is the Crystal Visions Tarot, and this is no new release or anything super exciting. You've very likely got this deck or heard of this deck. Let's sort that out. There we are, there's the box. I only recently got this deck, it's my latest deck and I love it so much. It's by far my favourite deck right now anyway. Yeah, so I'm going to turn the camera around and let's start talking about this deck. This is the box, it's nothing fancy, it's just a tuck box with a little white book inside. It was published I believe in 2001, US game system. And the artist is called Jennifer Galasso. Comes with this like information here about the author and just like a pretty basic little white book, nothing overly special there. Okay, so this is what the deck looks like on the backs. Let's check you can see. Okay, so it seems the lighting is better when I keep stuff down here on the table rather than bring it up to the camera because we have the window light in there. So yeah, these are the backs. I absolutely adore the backs. They're reversible, they're so pretty. And this cardstock, I would say it's very basic, I imagine affordable cardstock. I'm not gonna lie, it's the favourite cardstock I've ever had. It's sort of a classic playing cards cardstock, really nice and thin, and it's sort of that, yeah, I guess you could say it's shiny, but it's not sticky shiny because sticky shiny is just my least favourite type of deck. I really love the cardstock. I'll just show you, for example, that I like to shuffle this way. And as you can see, it really does shuffle nice. It's so like slippery in the best way. And if I was to compare it with, say, this Lightseers, which is this Lightseers deck, it feels thin, you know, but it's definitely much thicker than this. And if you can see just from the deck thicknesses here, the Lightseers is a lot thicker. And then I have my classic Rider-Waite here, which again is still quite a bit thicker than the Crystal Visions, but not quite as thick as the Lightseers. So you can see it is very thin, but I really like it. I actually prefer it to shuffle in the Lightseers. I find they can often I just find they come out in chunks like that. For example, when I shuffle, I get a big chunk come out, and I pull from jumpers. So as I adore this deck, don't get me wrong, but it's difficult for me to work with because it doesn't jump like my Rider-Waite, and like this Crystal Visions is the best little jumping deck I've ever had. So if you pull from jumpers, oh my god, like I highly recommend this type of cardstock and this type of deck. I know a lot of people would not be into this cardstock, so I did want to just sort of get that out the way. Personally for me, maybe, you know, maybe I have cheap taste or something, I don't know, but for me I much prefer this because for me it's all about the experience of shuffling and how easy it is for me to get my messages. It's just it's so smooth as well, and it glides really easy. My only criticism of that is that I know this deck is very likely to get damaged a lot easier than any of my other thicker decks. So I'm tempted to actually get another copy, like a backup copy, in case anything was to happen to this, and in case something horrific would happen, like they stop printing it or something. Let's hope that never happens though. But yeah, I should probably get, it's quite an affordable deck, but because they don't stock it in the UK, I did have to pay like too much probably for postage, so it's not as affordable if you're not in America. Okay, so let's have a look at the cards. I'm not going to walk through everything, but with the Pentacles, as I noticed, they have this sort of greeny vibe, and they have a green like name tab here. Then we have like red vibes and a pink name tab for the wands. And blue and purpley vibes for the swords, which is great. Like, look at them colours there for the swords. Like, they're just so aesthetically pleasing to me, the way that they go together like that. And then the cups, they're quite similar to the swords, but not the same. They're like a lilac. The swords is like a blue, and then the colours are more sort of like lilac and purple for the cups. So as you can see, they're so aesthetically pleasing when it comes to the minor arcana, you know, with the colours like are very matchy within the suits. Like, they've used very similar colour palettes per suit, which I just love that. And then the major arcana, you can see, have a yellow name tab, but they do have very different colours going on, like a nice mix of all the colours coming from all the minors. So they're a bit more, like, less cohesive, more colourful, but they still just go so well. And then all these different colours and images all just go so well. I love the imagery as well. Some of my favourite things about this deck is, if you can see here, the dragons. So there's like a lot of dragons in this deck and a lot of crystals. I guess with it being crystal visions, you know, you should think so. I just love the combination with the dragons, the crystal, and that like magical world. Like, I do just want to live within this world so much. It's just so magical and mystical. The other thing for me is that I love with the pentacles. To me, these pentacles remind me of portals. And it really just gives me very like unique messages compared to other decks. For me, with this deck, I get a lot of messages like that are more spiritual and more divinely guided, and I feel like are coming from people's higher selves and really coming from like universal inspired readings rather than like earthly inspired readings. So I do feel like that the magical setting of these cards really does create that type of reading environment. Like, look at that world card. And I do just love the aces in these as well, and the use of roses within the swords deck. I love the use of roses, and it just gives that splash of red within the swords. And with the swords being like, I guess you could say, the most bloody deck, the most bloody suit, sorry, like the harshest suit, then they use the red that you'll see in the roses. It comes onto those harder cards with the red being the blood here, like with the Five of Swords. You can see the blood trickling down from the wound. Nice High Priestess there. I do love these reddy, orangey, yellowy colours as well that you'll see in cards like the Sun and the Strength, but also within the Wand suit. And here you can see what I mean. When you first glance at this, you think that's blood possibly in the snow, but it's actually rose petals. And this is what I mean with that play on using the blood and using the roses, with the red roses within the suit. Really plays with your mind a little, which I love. I love the aces in this. Like, even that Ace of Pentacles is fantastic with the trees. The cups are great because I just love the use of the little pond area with the lily pads sort of representing the cups. Look at that star. Like, isn't that just such a glamorous star card? Oh man, I love it. And it's so girly. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it is a very girly, it really satisfies that feminine part of myself. I am quite, I don't know, like, I guess like I am quite girly in a sense, but even though I might not dress very girly and I'm not too crazy into being super girly, but on the inside I am very into feminine stuff. I love romance, like I love all that sort of side of things, that feminine side of life. So this deck really sort of brings that out in me, and I feel like such a deep connection with the feminine side of this deck. Look at that Seven of Cups where she's riding the dragon. Like, oh, have you seen a Seven of Cups that cool? Like, I don't think so. And that lover's card, oh, so cute with the roses and a beautiful couple. I adore this sun card. I actually drew this sun card up once when I had time and I pulled it. I just love it so much. I love that dress she's wearing as well, and I love sunflowers. So yeah, I could just sit and go through all these cards, but this is more just me telling you how I've been working with it, and since I've got it, there hasn't been a day that I haven't worked with this deck. It's literally crazy. Another dragon. I do adore the dragons, I'm not gonna lie. Look at that hermit. It's sort of like a fairy hermit. Yeah, and so what else? Like, yeah, that's pretty much it. Like, I just basically love this deck. I can't put it down, and I highly recommend it. If all the sort of things I've said about it are things that you like about decks, then definitely grab yourself a copy. It's very affordable, especially if you're already in America, I imagine. If you don't like super thin decks though, maybe it's not the deck for you. So just sort of depends how you feel about that. The thing is that I love a good working deck, and if a deck is difficult to shuffle, it just makes me not want to use it as much. So for example, I really love, this is my latest walkthrough I did of this, you'll find on my channel. I'll put in the iCard if you want to see the walkthrough of this goddess deck, and which is great. I love the images on this deck, yeah, but it's such an awkward size to shuffle, you know. I don't feel like I get an easy pull from it, so I tend to not go for that as much as I would go for something, an oracle that's easy to shuffle, you know, that I can fit my hands around nicely. The cardstock shuffles fine, it doesn't stick together. So that is just something for me personally is always important, that I can work with it and it's a good working deck. So I definitely think the Crystal's Vision is a brilliant working deck. I've fallen in love with the feminine fantasy style imagery with a bit of dragons there and magic, and it's just lovely. So yeah, if that's something you're into, definitely grab it. Let me know your thoughts about this deck below in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Have a great day. Bye.